Happy Enders. It is another week, and are we ready to relax? I don't know. I'm working on shit. We'll see. So this episode is another old school comedian, which is super cool. This is Joey Gaynor. Joey Gaynor has been in the business for quite some time. He's done a bunch of things. He was in the Comedy Store. He was there during the strike. He talks about the Comedy Store. He talks about music. He talks about everything. It's really cool. This is a really good episode. I really like talking to the old school comedians and just finding out like how it used to be to how it is now. And he's talking about how the generation is now coming up to him and asking him about the old school days. And it's really cool that we're bridging the gap, and I love it. And like I said, this is just an awesome interview. Thanks to Care by Design, Absolute Extract. You guys have kept my arms from falling off, and I love you guys dearly. Please go and get Care by Design and Absolute Extract products. They are exceptional. And like, click, subscribe, comment. Email me at joyshappyendings@gmail.com, and enjoy.
Get undressed, get under the sheets. Ooh, you're in for a treat. No, I promise this is not a dream. It's just a happy ending with Joy Eileen.
All right.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yay! All right, I'm going to have you introduce yourself.
All right. My name is Joey Gaynor, and I'm not Yasser Arafat, although I look like that. For those of you who remember him. He was the Palestinian guy while they were bombing him, running around with his phone going, "Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?"
Could we? Could we hear him?
I don't know. So,
this is exciting.
I'm very excited. As a matter of fact, in 3 states, I'd be in jail right now. That's how excited I am.
Me too. In 5 states, we'd be married.
Oh, why? Are you under 15?
I wish. No, I don't. Oh, going back to 15. That would be bad.
No, the only good thing about that was the Knicks won the world championship. But that was it. Other than that, it wasn't so great.
Are you a sports fan?
Yes.
What's your game? Is that right? I'm not a sports fan, obviously.
I like, actually, there's several things I like. I like baseball, football, hockey, basketball. I also like cricket, and I like rugby.
Oh, so you like the hard stuff.
Well, cricket is when I had TMJ and I was really sick, I couldn't really do anything, and everything would be really, I'd watch TV or whatever, and I would get headaches just watching TV. It just seemed, and then I stumbled on the cricket channel, like 24 hours.
There's okay.
And I was so ill that it seemed like baseball from Bizarro Land, and I learned cricket and I watched it, and seriously, it was a very comforting thing to watch because there's no foul balls. Wherever they hit a ball, it's in play. So
okay,
it's pretty cool. And I also like rugby. I think that's a great game. And I've been a big wrestling fan, and I've also been an announcer and a wrestling manager, pro wrestling.
Oh, really?
For the last 30 years, yes.
Okay, my 8-year-old has just discovered wrestling.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He is in it to win it.
Yeah, you got to teach him not to jump off the couch with a knee drop on his 6-year-old nephew.
Yeah. I also have to teach him. He's the one who he wants to do stand-up. I've actually taken him to open mics because I'm a good mom. So I had.
And the kid's good. He knows his drinks. He doesn't drink more than the minimum. So
well, he was mad because he realized his older brother is going to get to come to the Comedy Store first.
Oh.
And he's like, "Mom," he's like, "I'll just take his ID." I'm like, "Brody, you can't come in as an 8-year-old with a 21-year-old ID."
Not if he's wearing a mustache. That would be very funny as a video, actually. Kid's wearing a mustache. He's got his brother's ID. And the doorman's a little drunk, so he lets him in.
He's like, somebody told me to have him come in with Brad Williams, so they're both like the same size.
Tell him he's Alan Bursky Jr.
Bursky Jr.
Bursky was the other youngest comic to do, to do the Tonight Show, and the second youngest, I believe, that I know of, is Byron Allen. I don't know if anybody since then has been 15 or 16 doing the Tonight
Oh,
Show.
really? They were that young?
Yeah. Oh, Gabriel Iglesias might be the only other youngest comedian, I think.
Huh.
Because he started when he was like 11 on Nick at Night doing stand-up.
God, I wish I would have started earlier.
Or on Nickelodeon. Well, we all wish look, I started when I was 19. I'm very lucky.
Yes.
So I had, they say the first 50 years of this business is the hardest. So I only have about 4 more hard years, and then I'm all set.
I'll be dead. Yay. They'll be like, she was good, her last set.
No, it's all relevant. I mean, I started here in 1976 on the Ides of March 15th.
Okay.
I really didn't know. I wanted to be a musician. I came out here right out of high school. My family moved out here. We drove out here, and I had a lot of family that was here, so it was comfortable. But it was really hard to make the culture shock was really different. It was just completely different.
Where'd you move out here from?
Moved out from New Jersey.
Okay.
And we lived in Whittier.
I knew Whittier. Okay.
Yeah, Whittier's a good town. It really is. And what was cool was I started to come to Hollywood. It made Hollywood more special because I had to drive from Whittier to Hollywood.
I get that.
When you live here, you're like, I hate this. I wish they'd burn it down. But when you're 25 miles away, it's like, hey, I got to go to Hollywood. So anyway.
That's how I am. I live in Santa Clarita. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
And so I saw Freddie. My uncle had a ticket office that I worked for, and I went to a lot of concerts. I mean, ridiculous amount of concerts.
I love it.
And I went to see the Rolling Stones when they were young. I saw some great performers, but we went to see at the amphitheater when it was an open-top theater, when it existed, actually. We went to see Helen Reddy, and her opening act was Freddie Prinze. We really went to see Freddie Prinze.
Okay.
We only stayed like through 3 songs of Helen Reddy. When she started singing the farm song, I knew a farmer, and I was like, okay, let's get at it.
We're done.
We heard Me Against the World. That was enough. So I saw Freddie Prinze, and I was blown away. I thought, this guy's amazing. And this was in August of 75, and about 3 months later, it was in October of 75, I saw Richard Pryor 3 out of 7 nights at the Schubert Theater, which was over in Century City.
Okay.
And each time I sat in the 10th row, 4th row, 3rd row. And I was just the most explosive, I think the greatest stand-up that I have ever seen. And I've seen just about everybody of that time. I don't know all the guys now, but
right.
I would still lay odds. There's very few guys who could compete with him toe to toe. He was the most magnificent stand-up I ever saw, and I heard he was working his material out at the Comedy Store in Hollywood, and I'd heard of the Comedy Store years before when I was in high school in 73 or 74 before I graduated. PBS reran a special from the Improv in New York, and Jimmy Walker was on it, and Steve Landisberg, and Marvin Braverman, Mike Preminger. A lot of guys were on the show. Lenny Schultz. And they did an interview after that, and they said, since the Improv is opened in L.A., and there's another place, the Comedy Store, and they talked about that very briefly. So I kind of had heard of it. And I went into Hollywood. I found the Comedy Store, and I wasn't old enough to get in, so I dressed like I was older. I had an afro at the time, and I wore my tennis hat down over it, and I had my leisure suit jacket on, and a big collar shirt, like a hang glider, and collar, and a mustache, beard. And my voice up here, And Johnny Witherspoon, who just passed away, was the MC, the doorman. He was a really great comic. I had the good fortune to work with him on a lot of Robert Townsend stuff, and the 5 Heartbeats, and just a lot of stuff. Johnny was great, and I bought a ticket and I got in. And he kept looking at me, and then the next time I came, he let me in free, and he told the girl at the door, "Let him in. He's a narc." I thought it was a narcotics cop. So I kept that look for a while because I was getting in, and then I was very lucky because I wanted to do this. I really wanted to do this, and I really didn't know what to do. And I was here, I would be here like 5 nights a week hoping I'd see Richard Pryor, but I started to see a guy named Paul Mooney. And he was writing for Richard Pryor. He wrote for Richard. So Paul Mooney was fantastic. That's the oil boy that just came down the stairs here.
Oil boy?
Yeah, the oil boy. And so, I'm sorry, the oil boy made me forget what I was... Oh. Anyway, I would watch Paul Mooney every night. And that was amazing. And then I was finally getting my guts up to try to do this because they said any night, on a Monday night, anybody can get up and do 5 minutes. And I never came here on a Monday night. I would never come on a Monday night because I figured that's going to be a disastrous looking thing, and I don't want to be all scared away by it and whatever. So when I finally was going to do this, I had the good fortune of being able to talk to guys like David Letterman, Jay Leno, Michael Preminger, Mitch Walters. These were all guys that were hanging around at the time. Me and Nargis Hamilton started right at the same time. And there was a fellow named Steve Landesberg who was another one of my favorite all-time comedians. And I walked up to him, and I had been talking to him because I had met him, and I said, very cocky. I was very cocky about it. I said, so Steve, I want to go up on Monday night, but they only give me 5 minutes. I mean, is that enough time to get him going? And he looks at me, very deadpan, because he was like 6'2" and I'm 5'8", and he goes, is that enough time? It's a fucking eternity if you ain't funny. And like, it took all the wind out of me. I was like, oh, come on, could you tell me what I need to know?
Please, sir.
Yeah, please, sir, can I have some more advice? And we went next door to the old Hyatt House in the coffee shop, and Lauren Tews brought us coffee. She went on to be on the Love Boat. And it's like everybody who had a career at that time. And we sat for about an hour, and he explained to me how don't hang around up there when you're not getting laughs. Don't abuse the thing. I mean, well, we all abuse the light at times, but that's different after you know what you're doing. Then you're an asshole. But he told me, it's 5 minutes. If you got 3, do 3. If you got 2, do 2.
That's really good advice for a new person, actually.
Yeah, it's the best advice you could ever have. And so I went and I took a month and I wrote an act. And part of it was Richard Pryor doing the weather. And as Richard Pryor in the bit, I said the N-word. Nobody complained. Everybody was laughing because it's 1976 and we weren't all hating each other. But again, it's not a word I want to throw around. It's just at that time I was doing Richard Pryor. So
you were being Richard Pryor.
Yeah, I got away with it. And it was... Because I all said... Well, anyway... I was so dirty up there. I really was dirty, and I had jokes that, like every other joke, I would say motherfucker because I was so scared, and I came off, and I did really well. I mean, surprisingly, and I had a lot of ethnic. I mean, today they would call me a racist. I walked on, but I had been schooled by Paul Mooney and these guys.
Right.
And I walk on stage, and I looked at the front row, and I went, "Oh, all the black people are sitting up front. I thought the stage was in the back. Shit." And it got this reaction of like a laugh and a ooh, and then a laugh, and the black people looked at me like, "Oh, I see. He's bent. All right, this guy's like fucked up. This is going to be interesting." And then from there, it was. It was. I still have the tape. It was pretty funny. But Mitzi called me over after I finished. I was sitting next to this actor who went on to be an actor, Leo Rossi, the fella who's done so many movies. And you'd recognize him immediately if you saw him.
Okay.
And good-looking Italian fella. He's just really good. And he was sitting there with me, and he had gone on. And I sat down next to him, and we'd been talking. He was from Philly. I'm from Jersey. We're commiserating. And I sit down, and I go, well, I don't know, man. That guy was really dirty. I was so scared. He goes, yeah, that was dirty. And so Howard Taylor, who I was telling you about before the show, he was the MC on Monday nights. And Howard was so deadpan and so sad-looking all the time. He would, if he walked up to you and said, I just won the lottery. $40 million. I mean, what the fuck am I going to do with $40 million? I mean, geez,
Wish it was 50.
I'm going to kill myself. I can't take this. So he comes up to me and he goes, the owner would like to talk to you. And I looked at Leo and I went, well, I guess I'm getting banned. Nice to meet you, Leo. I'm going to go.
It's nice meeting you.
I walk over to Mitzi's table. I had no idea who she was. I had heard people make jokes about her on stage. Had no idea who she was. I sat down because she signed me in, and I thought she was just in charge of signing or something. And Mitzi, in those days it was cool. You'd sign up, everybody got on. Just about everybody. It went till 2:00. Just about everybody got on, and she gave you a ticket for like soda, juice, coffee, whatever. And she sits me down and she goes, "So, Joey Gaynor." I go, "Yeah. How are you? I'm sorry about. Hey, so how long are you doing stand up?" I said, "Well, that's my first time, but I'm trying to apologize for being dirty." And I go, "Well, it's my first time, and I'm sorry." "Oh, my God, you're wonderful. Oh. I want you to go to Westwood next week. I'm putting you on in the new place because you're too young to be in here, but I see you got in."
Nice.
"I see you hanging around here." So she had seen me hanging around. Everybody thought I was a nut. That's my phone. That's probably my, that's probably a creditor. Who would call me at this time of the day? I told him I'd be doing this. I don't think so. It's too late in the day. Anyway, by the way, that's called the phone ring tone if you have an Android. There are many tones for the Android. All of them suck. They're like, ba-bing, ba-bing. You can't fucking hear them. It doesn't matter. And all cell phones suck. I don't care what you say. All right.
I completely agree.
But anyway, that's I started to do stand-up, and then it took me like 2 years to really know what I was doing. She fired me from the list about 10 times. "Come back when you're funny."
Oh.
Well, the one night, what also happened was one night, it was winter of '76, coming into it was like December, and I went on in Westwood in front of Jimmy Walker, and it was a Sunday night show, and I had been... Robin Williams had come down here, and a lot of us started to work wild, which means we would go up and not stand in front of the mic and blah, blah, blah. He really opened the door to act out bits, and the guy was a fucking genius. I mean, you're never going to tell me any different. And so I was doing really wild stuff on stage, and Jimmy Walker was waiting to go on, and he's in the back going, "This guy's hostile. I can't, no, he's hostile, Mitzi." So Mitzi took me off the lineup for a year.
Oh, shit. A whole year?
Yeah, and then I came back, a little more, actually. Then I came back like in September of '78. That's when I blew the roof off the joint and finally got back in as a regular. But by then, I had learned from Mitch Walters and Biff Maynard and the late Kip Addotta, and Biff is gone too. But I learned from them and Argus and Ronnie Kinney. These were all my friends, and they all liked me. Ollie Prater, and they sat me down, and they really taught me how to write jokes, especially Mitchell. Mitchell Walters really was the first guy to really indoctrinate me on how to write jokes, how to set up a bit. And it was really funny. I got back on as a regular, and within a month, I was doing a pilot. 24 of us did a pilot for Canary Productions in England called The Comedians.
Okay.
And that was George Wallace is on it, Mike Binder, oh God, I can't think. I think Argus did it. I know Ollie Prater did it. Ronnie Kinney. There was so many guys. Not all of us from the Comedy Store, but the majority of us were. And that was really great to work with all these great comics starting out and getting something like that. And it's really funny because getting back to Robin Williams real quick, when he first came down here in like the summer of '76, that's why I call it kind of a magic summer. A lot of stuff was happening.
Right. And
he came down and he performed in the at Westwood, and he was doing a preacher guy. And it was hysterical. And I started to talk to him. We became friendly. The following Sunday, I was at the Improv for the sign-up night on Sunday nights. They had a potluck. They had singers and they had comedians. And I'm sitting at the bar with him, and we're talking. And I said, I'm working on a bit where famous people imitate other famous people. but I don't know where I'm going to go with it. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, it's like Lawrence Welk doing Richard Pryor. Hey, motherfucker, what's wrong with you? A one and a two. And he goes, oh, I like that. Hey, I have a bit. It's maybe I can help you with something. Maybe we can trade. I said, well, I'm doing this. I want to do a mafia game show bit. And within 30 seconds, he gives me, well, Mrs. Capitelli, is your husband in trunk number 1, trunk number 2, or trunk number 3? Is that his hand or is it a banana? I mean, he goes on and on. So I get all these jokes together. I'm all excited. Okay, yeah, you can do this thing. Go ahead and do it. And I'm figuring, what's he going to do with that? I mean, how do you do that? How are you going to make Lawrence Welk Richard Pryor? How do you... So I didn't think about it. About 10 minutes later, Bud Friedman comes over and, Robin, you're on next, blah, blah, blah. So Robin goes into the room, and I go into the room behind him. They announce him, and he goes on stage. He hits the stage, and he goes, let's get down and get a funky. Each and every member of my band is a motherfucker in his own right. A one and a two, come on. And he took it, and I stood there, and I went, wow, that's how you write a bit. He just took it to the stratosphere. He turned Lawrence Welk into Get Down, Get Funky, and when he came off stage, he went, yeah, I think that's going to work. I said, yeah, I think so. And, he's the guy that got me into San Francisco because in the late 80s, during the really hard boom, San Francisco was a hotbed, and everybody was trying to get in. And if you were an L.A. comic, they didn't want no party, and they're very provincial.
Okay.
And so I was up there working one-nighters for an outside promoter, and the guy takes me to the Holy City Zoo. And they let me get up at the end of the night and do 7 or 8 minutes. And I met Barry Sobel and Monty Hoffman and Amazing Jonathan and Will Durst and some guys who were hanging out. It was cool. And they told me they don't hire L.A. comics, blah, blah, blah. At the time, I didn't know Robin owned the Holy City Zoo. He was an owner.
Okay.
So I'm back up there a couple of months later, and I go to the Holy City Zoo again. I walk in, and they're all, well, we don't hire people, da-da-da. And as I turn to leave, Robin comes in, gives me a big hug. Hey, my friend, blah, blah, blah. We're hugging, and the two guys that were running the place are looking at each other like two shit salesmen with a mouthful of samples. And so they're, well, how about I mean, man, send us all your stuff so we know how to promote when we book you. And I sent them my stuff, and I started to work a lot in San Francisco and do Alex Bennett's morning radio show, which was huge there, and was able to cultivate an audience up there at the time. And it was, and so there, that's another thing about Robin. He was not in any way, shape, or form. I would say he was not a greedy guy in any way, shape, or form. Maybe on stage he was greedy, but off stage he wasn't a greedy guy.
So you don't think there was anything to him stealing bits or anything like that?
He stole from people. He paid people.
Okay.
He wanted to buy my Frank Sinatra bit, and I wouldn't sell it to him because really it's all I had to close my act. And I said, well, why don't you have me come on the Tonight Show and do it? He goes, no, that won't work. I said, I can't, Robin. I know what am I going to come up with? That's a big... it's one of the biggest things I do, and they're starting to hire me because I do that. So what am I going to do if I give you that,
Right.
And, but he paid Steve Pearl money for bits that he used and got caught up with. He paid Joey Gaynor money for bits that he got. So Robin was, when you catch him, he'd pay you.
Okay.
But, I always... I really feel very lucky that I got to know so many great performers.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to lie.
Well, hey, there's a lot of great people here now.
There is. There's a lot of fantastic people.
I'll tell you what, there are more great people here now than there might have been 10 years ago.
Okay.
I'm not kidding.
Because I started hanging around here about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And that was just us, me and my husband were trying to get away from the kids. And we go and watch comedy. I knew I liked being on stage. I did the high school graduation speech. Anytime there was a microphone, I'm like, I want to touch that. But I didn't know. And then Steve Simone was on stage, and he was bombing. There was a very drunk blonde chick who just threw him off so badly. And at one point... she stopped. He was telling a joke, and she's like, excuse me. And he stopped and he's like, yes. And she's like, I have a joke to tell you. Like, I can help you get laughs. And he went off on her and screamed and left the stage. And then came back and he's like, I'm sorry, you're obviously going through something, and gave her a hug. And then he got on stage and he goes, I know what everybody's thinking right now. Everybody thinks they can be a stand-up comedian. And my husband goes, nope. And I go, yep. And that's how it all, I was like, yeah, I want to start doing that.
Well, everybody gets inspired in a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was living in Houston and I was part of the Houston Comedy Annex and the workshop for quite a while when I was living there, that's where I used to hang out with Bill Hicks and some Andy Hug and some really great funny comedians down there, and we used to talk about stuff like that. It's really funny because I'm eating with Bill Hicks at a Chili's, and he looks up at me and he goes, man, still kind of coming down from that acid I took like 4 days ago.
Oh, shit.
I said, really? He goes, yeah, last night I was playing poker and I had 2 jacks, a queen, and 2 hobbits. I just was like, wow. And I feel really good because I got to be in a cult classic comedy concert film with Chris Rock and Bill Hicks and Tim Allen, Stephanie Hodge, Steve Pearl. There's lots of great people in it. Otto and George, Jackie Martling, Ben Creed's the host. It's called Comedy's 30th Dozen. And we did that a long time ago. But it's amazing how many young comics come up to me and ask me about that film and Bill Hicks and what was it like. And I'm glad that they do. I mean, seriously, I'm glad that they're interested in the history of comedy, because it's just like the government. If you don't know your history, you got no future.
I agree.
And I'm meeting more and more young comedians who watch the Marx Brothers and go back and see. Because really, the Marx Brothers films, in about just about 10 years, Coconuts is going to be 100 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And yet that film, I will bet you, will still hold up against any comedy today.
Right.
For the writing, not for the technical aspects.
Right.
But as far as the writing and the jokes, you can. So there's only 7 premises, and we all have to take them and work them the best we can. But I just feel really blessed that I got to in this building open for Richard Pryor and then go on the road to people like the Smothers Brothers and Slappy White, who was great. Slappy White was always on the Red Fox show. He's an older black comedian, he's an icon and a legend. And I'm working with him in Austin, and every day he'd play golf and stuff. We'd go, after the show, we'd go out in Austin at night. We'd go to a club, and we'd walk up to the club, and the guy at the door would go, oh, my God, it's Red Fox. Oh, come on in, Mr. Fox, whatever you want, And so the first 3 nights, we were going to this club, that club, and we're going in, and it's Red Fox, So I'm sitting with him on Thursday morning. We're having breakfast, and I said, Slappy, doesn't it bother you that, we go to these clubs, and everybody thinks you're Red Fox? And he was smoking a cigar and reading the USA Today, and I'll never forget, he never even took the paper down. He went, we're getting in free, ain't we? I said, yeah, we are getting everything free. You're right, Mr. Fox. Where are we going tonight? And we did. Everywhere we went, the whole week, we were comped everything, whether it was golf, whether it was food, it didn't matter.
I love it.
And he was another, if you ever watch Sanford and Son, Slappy was on there a lot. As,
okay.
One of his buddies. And that's the thing, is all of these guys, there was so much to learn from them. And I did an interview with, of all places, well, everybody knows, well, not everybody, but I've known a lot about ghosts and stuff here at the Comedy Store and all that. And there's a show on late at night called Coast to Coast. It used to be about UFOs and stuff. It still is, but they're a little too Trumpy for me. But anyway, I got interviewed on it in 2001, and with Ian Punnett, we were talking about why so many young comedians pass away. Why so in this day and age comedians pass away so young? And we were talking about Sam Kinison, John Candy, John Belushi, Chris Farley, the drug overdose or whatever. And he said, why is it like Bob Hope and George Burns and Milton Berle? These guys live to be 95 years old. I said, well, there's a big difference, and it's very simple. Bob Hope and George Burns and Milton Berle, they went to bed at night. They didn't stay up for 6 days at a time, completely fucked up out of their mind. And then drinking 3 gallons of coffee, trying to straighten out. So, it's... there is a big difference there.
There is.
And, it's... and that's what I've seen through here. I mean, I've seen so many guys who... during the cocaine years, I never did coke. I could count the kilos that I ever did. No, I never did cocaine. That wasn't my bag. But I noticed a lot of guys who did it and then quit years later died because I guess they had damage, And that was not my favorite. I'm a pot guy. I won't lie about it.
See, I've never done any of it.
Oh, well.
And in fact, Brody used to have a joke that 80% of comedians smoke pot and the other 20% aren't funny.
Oh.
And he did that joke, and I was all, oh my God, I'm never going to be funny.
Oh, that's
I panicked. I'm all, oh my God, I got to quit.
Funny. He's pretty much right. No.
Thanks.
No, there's guys that are completely straight now and are very fun. I mean, Argus Hamilton's celebrating 33 years.
Yeah, I mean,
sobriety, and he's doing great.
Soberness is almost as old as I am. So.
That's funny. He wrote that on Facebook. It's 33 years, and one of my comments was, 33 years. Wow, that's almost as old as the kid I don't know about. So, this is a really nice massage. This is good.
Oh, thank you.
It's been an interesting week. I've been to the Lowell Cafe, and now I'm getting massaged while I'm being interviewed today. With my face looking like, some sort of mummified zombie.
Your face is perfect.
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 Oh. No, I love the stories. This is like my favorite.
Gosh, this place is just so crazy. I used to like to have fun on the door. Like when Robert De Niro was going to do the movie King of Comedy, he was coming in every night to see Richard Belzer. And at that time, I mean, like, huge movie stars were coming in here to hang out. It was like the place to be seen. And so Robert De Niro comes in one Saturday night. I'm in awe because, I mean, I'm a big fan, And he comes up to me after the show, and because I emceed and I sat everybody, and that's what we did. And he comes up to me and goes, so you MC here and you seat the room and you do everything. I said, yeah, I kind of do that. And as I'm talking to him, I realize he's standing there with me, and I'm resetting the room for the second show. So I said to him, hand me that chair. And he goes, yeah. Then it was, help me move this table. So I got him to reset the whole room with me.
I love it.
And when we were done talking, I went, hey, nice working with you. He went, oh, you got me to do the work. You fucking... It's really funny. And then there's been a lot of times like that. There's been some really amazing people come through here. And if you see any of the Comedy Store yearbooks and stuff, the photos bear it all out.
Uh-huh.
And I have photos of the night we crowned Richard Pryor King of Comedy in the main room. That was really great.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to... I have a few more of them. I want to put them up on Facebook. I have to do that so that Jeff Scott can get a hold of them.
Oh, I love Jeff Scott.
Jeff is a great guy.
I am trying to help him write his memoirs because I'm an author. And I keep... he'll send me stories, and I'll flesh them out, and I'll get them all ready. And I have, chapters done, and I'm like, okay, give me more. And he's like, hold on. I'm like, no. I want more.
we did back, and I think it was either 2011 or 12. No, I think it was 2011. We did for the month of October, where there was a Halloween thing here where they did a ghost tour. And that was before this was all podcast studio. This was just barren down here with junk stored. And it was just a typical basement. And for 4 nights, we did the ghost tour. And it was the first night, me and Blake Clark appeared on it. And it was a half house in the main room. And word got out that the guys from Unsolved Mysteries are there. Well, Blake didn't want to do any more of them. He doesn't like doing or talking about that stuff. But I came in all 4 weeks I came in, and like the crowds got bigger every week because it's huge. And I didn't know what was going on, and I get a message from Argus like a year later. Hey, you got 4 checks sitting at the company. I said, what? And he said, you got 4 checks here. So I came, and they were all out of date. And so the manager took them, and they made new checks for me, and I made something like, it was like $3,000 for them. Nice. It was great, because I didn't know I was getting paid for the show. I was
You're
like,
just
wow,
having fun.
Yeah, it was great. I went out and bought all kinds of fucking dope. I went nuts. I made Artie Lang look like a fucking monk that night. But, it's really funny. I have a New Jersey accent. It comes out a lot. I'm half Italian. People think I'm like in the mob or something. And friends of mine, they're like, well, you sound like a guy who did things. I'm like, yeah, I did things. Yeah,
I did things.
Yeah.
See, I have the mom accent, and it comes out a lot, and I will mom people, and not on purpose. And the finger will come out, and I'm like, you need to. I'm like, oh, I should stop that. You're not my child.
Well, it's funny. I mean, if you got me and Joey Diaz in a room and we start talking, they think we're plotting to take over a fucking bank.
What you need to do is plot.
Throw Jimmy Schubert in there. And the other night, when was it, a week ago, I was here. We did Argus' show thing and blah, blah, blah. Jimmy Schubert walked up, and we immediately start going into our fake mob fight stuff. And he's grabbing me, and he goes, I could snap your neck. I'm pointing my finger in his stomach going, I got it pressed against your heart. Go ahead, make him move. It's all dialogue. It's nothing. And the youngsters were out there, and they're all looking like, oh, my God, what's going to happen? Oh, is this another Columbine? Oh, comedy Columbine.
Columbine.
And then we're like hugging, hey, how you doing? And oh, it's called acting.
Fun fact, Jimmy Schubert was the first person to get naked on this podcast.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised if... No, Jimmy is not going to be scared to get naked.
Nope, he was the first one. And then
That's
I told
so funny.
Maz Jabrani, and Maz Jabrani goes, wait, Jimmy got naked? And then Maz got naked. And I was like, okay.
I would get naked, but if I got naked, you'd have to move the walls back and shit to fit my junk. So that's why I don't get naked.
Oh, I appreciate you keeping your junk in.
Yeah, it's... Oh, here comes the guy now to give me another...
Yep. Are you the oil boy?
That's right.
The oil boy's back.
I got some pot oil.
Ooh. Right from the popcorn machine.
No! It is not milky.
Stephen Holloman, everyone.
I do not use milky oil.
Oh.
That was different.
I haven't had a massage this nice since I got lost in Chinatown. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I love it.
How long have you been a masseuse?
12 years. July. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to get out of it. It would be nice. I've been at the same chiropractor for 12 years.
Oh.
Without a raise.
Well, yes, I would say that. Well, there's always ways to make up that money. Things like toilet paper, paper towels.
Sheets.
Sheets, pillowcases. And the occasional Norco, if they happen to be able to prescribe Norco.
I don't know. I think No, I'm pretty bad. Like, for a big girl, I'm a real lightweight when it comes to drugs. So.
You know, it's funny. I can't take that stuff like Vicodin or Norco like recreationally. It doesn't.
I can't.
It makes me sick to my stomach. It doesn't work. You got to have real bad pain. And you know, it's rough because people take that for pain, then they get hooked, and it's very hard to get off the opiate.
It's very hard. In fact, though. Care by Design, the CBD lotion that I'm using on you, they made me this huge bottle of CBD lotion. I've been using it on my patients, and it's been helping a lot of their pain. So that's really cool. Like,
oh, that's fine with me.
Being able to get all that. So
yeah, this is a great massage because I'm feeling muscles pop that have been knocked a little tight, like in knots for weeks. What's left of my muscles.
I know. I'm sad that it's coming to an end. You have to come back.
Oh, I would love to.
Okay.
What time?
Okay. No, I would though. I really, because I'm not done talking. I'm not done with all your stories yet.
Oh, I haven't even. You know, all you got to do is ask me, and I'm an open book.
Okay.
Except about my sex life, because there's really nothing to talk about.
That's a pamphlet. It's not a book.
I don't even think it's a pamphlet. It's more like a report card.
How awful would that be if you got a report card after sex?
It was pretty awful when.
People that would improve.
No.
I had a girl tell me once I kissed like a 7th grader, and I was excited because I was in 3rd.
Ooh, fancy.
But,
See, I'm very big on kissing. Like, when I write books, I make sure, like, I draw it out, and I make my characters have, like, the best first kiss.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I'm married, so I'm never going to get to have a first kiss again.
You're done.
Yeah, I'm done.
You're done. No, I'm
So my characters have to have their first kiss.
I remember my first kiss was really, it got spoiled because the doll deflated.
Did you bite her boob?
No, I think I pushed her onto a thumbtack. No, everybody remembers their first kiss.
I don't really. My mom does.
Your first kiss?
It was in kindergarten.
Wait a minute. I'm talking about tongue.
Oh, God.
I'm talking about the real first kiss, not like pet and run away.
Well, I pushed him in the trash can.
Oh, wow.
In front of my mom.
Oh, wow.
She was a teacher's aide. My friend's married to him now. She has no idea.
He was the kindergarten masher.
He was the kindergarten. He was the bad one.
When I was a little kid, I thought I had like 5 girlfriends in the neighborhood. Yeah.
When was your first kiss? Who was your first kiss?
Real first kiss would be, it was a girl named Michelle. And actually, hers was okay, but the other Michelle was great.
Michelle number 2.
Yeah. Michelle, I don't remember her last name. We went to see the Rolling Stones.
Nice.
In 75, and she was a great kisser.
Best concert you've ever been to?
What's the best concert
I've
ever been to? Well, let's see. Pink Floyd.
Yep.
At the Sports Arena. I've seen them there 6 different times.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
The reason that is, I can put that as one of the best concerts I've ever been to. My late friend Steve Hammond, who was a guitar player, I do a show on Twitch called Rule of Thirds with his son Devin. It's all about games, retro games.
Okay.
And Steve and I were really good friends. He was doing music on this movie I was doing back in the 80s, and we got to be really good friends. But he was the guitar player for the offshoot band from Jimi Hendrix. When Jimmy fired Noel Redding started a band called Fat Mattress.
Okay.
And then Noel Redding was such an asshole, the band he started fired him.
Oh, shit.
But Steve and I went to see Pink Floyd in like 87 at the Sports Arena. And Steve knew everybody because he had played on so many different albums. He knew all the English musicians and everything, having been from England. And we're walking to it. This was at the old sports arena, which they tore down. But we went over to where they had a beer garden set up.
Okay.
Inside, and we went into the beer garden, and we were getting some Bass Ale or whatever. And a guy walks up to him and goes, "Hey, mate, ain't seen you in a long time." Blah, blah, blah. And Steve goes, "Hey, how are you?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, I'm running sound here for the Pink Floyd now. I'm engineering with them." And Steve goes, "Well, great." And he goes, "Hey, where are you sitting?" And I had gotten seats that were kind of far back on the floor, because at Pink Floyd, you don't want to sit in the front row. There's nothing to see in the front row.
Right.
It's all going on above you and in front of you and around you. So he says to us, "Well, fuck those seats. Come with me, mates." And he takes us to the soundboard, which is in the middle of the floor. Hands us headphones. And we're smoking pot at the soundboard and drinking and watching Pink Floyd with headphones live. It was one of the greatest experiences for a concert. I would also say Linda Ronstadt was amazing back in the day.
Okay.
Sinatra and Sammy Davis was great with Liza Minnelli, because it was a living fucking cartoon.
Right.
Pearl Jam.
Fuck yeah, okay.
Fucking Pearl Jam. I'm going to tell you now, Eddie Vedder, that's one of the, man.
Yep.
I went down to see them first time I saw them was at San Diego Sports Arena. And the lights go down. This was in 95. The lights go down, and the spotlight comes out, and what's his name? Zippy the Pinhead.
Okay.
Goes across the stage, and the fucking Ramones come out and do their last live concert.
Oh, shit.
In front of, they opened for Pearl Jam. And then I saw Pearl Jam again at the old Irvine Meadows years ago. And I had great seats right down, like fourth row, and Phil Jackson was sitting in front of me, and it was fucking great. And they come out in Orange County, the band has to stop at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And they get fined. And Eddie Vedder comes, he goes, "Well, it's 5 minutes to 11. I guess it's going to cost us $16,000 or $17,000. And he plays till like 1:30.
Nice.
Oh, it was fucking great. They just played everything under the sun, and they did what's that from the big song of The Departed? It was Pink Floyd's "Comfortably Numb."
Okay.
Which he did a version of that, which was amazing, because later on, like 20 years later, he did that live with Van Morrison.
Okay.
So, but that was another great show. Comedy concert-wise, Pryor was amazing to see live. Carlin was amazing live. Steve Martin, Franklin Ajay, Robert Klein, Leno. Christ, Leno is, just forget about it. Yeah, just an amazing. These are guys that when you see them live, it's. I've watched. I like to watch Joe Rogan. I think he's hysterical. I'm just trying to think of the guys that really, to me, make it explode when I watch them on stage. They really pop the fucking room. Well, I said Jimmy Schubert. Oh man, I can't. Some massage has got me all melted down now. I can't.
Well, see, I never got to see Pink Floyd, but I got to see Roger Waters do The Wall.
That was a good show.
That was a good show. I was 8 months pregnant.
Oh, well, there you go.
And there was a big biker next to me, and the baby was just kicking like an ass. And so I had my hand on it, and I was like, woo! And he's looking at me, and I'm like, it's okay. And he's like, you sure? And I'm like, I'm fine. But
You know what was a great show? A couple of other great shows I saw was the Ohio Players.
Okay.
At Graham Central Station.
Nice.
And also Tom Petty and the Black Crowes.
Okay.
And one of the greatest shows I've ever seen was Earth, Wind, and Fire at the Hollywood Bowl.
I could see that.
That was, as a matter of fact, they were doing the song Reasons. We were in the front box right against the stage. And this is in 1975, I remember, June of 75. And we were like drinking champagne, smoking pot to the point where we were legless.
Nice.
And they were doing the song Reasons. And the lead singer came out, and he was doing the high notes.
Uh-huh.
And they break and go silent while he's doing do-do-do-do-do-do. He's doing the high notes, which I can't do. And he paused, and there was this silence for like 5 seconds. And I yelled real loud. I went, "Go on, blood!" And the fucking place went crazy.
Oh, I love it.
And my white relatives who I'm sitting with are scared out of their fucking minds. They're just, "Oh my God, what'd you do? They're going to kill us." I'm looking at them going, "Who's going to kill us? Diana Ross sitting behind us? What the fuck?" She's laughing. I mean, yeah, it was a predominantly black audience at the ball, but who gives a shit?
Right.
And it was really funny.
Oh, I love it. See, and then Hellstorm, that's a band that I love. It's a female singer, and she has like Pat Benatar range. She's fucking amazing.
Yeah, Pat Benatar was an opera singer.
Yes.
I did the first TV show I ever taped doing stand-up was Don Kirshner's rock concert, and I did it with Pat Benatar, Molly Hatchet, and the Police.
Fuck yeah.
And Bobby Kosser was the other comedian on the show.
Now, you said you came here to be a musician. Do you play or do you sing? What do you?
I sing and play some harmonica. I still do blues and stuff.
Blues harmonica is my favorite.
Well, I had a band that we were up at the old John Lovitz Club for a while. I had a jam there, Joey Pipes and the blues band Time Forgot, and that went really well. And that was a pretty good. I mean, there was a good club. There were good comics, but it's a horrible location to try to do a comedy club.
Right.
It's fucking insane to do it there.
Because Alice in Chains has a song, "Don't Follow," and it has like a huge harmonica solo, and it's one of my favorite songs.
Oh, I love that song. I live tomorrow.
They're fucking amazing.
I was listening to them. I was driving to a gig Saturday night with my good friend Theo Manhattan. And I said, let's put on Alice in Chains, followed by AC/DC, and then I put on this mix that I had that had like Jay-Z and Eminem and all this stuff. People look at me at my age and go, "You listen to that?" And I'm going, "Yeah, why not? It's fucking rock and roll. What's wrong with you?" You know, I mean, if you're put off by hip hop, then you suck. Hip hop is great poetry. There's a lot of great poetry going on, and I like to listen to it. I don't have a problem. I like it.
Theo and I had a show tomorrow, and it just got canceled.
Oh, where were you going to be?
The Dojo.
Oh, that's too bad. That's a nice little spot.
I know. I was sad. He just wrote me, and he's like, "It's canceled," and I'm like, "Aw." But I canceled a bunch of massages tomorrow so I could make it, and I'm not going to reschedule them. So I get to go home early.
Well, that's good.
I'm okay with it. All right. Any parting words? Any last thoughts?
Yes, I would suggest to all the young people out there, eat as much spinach as you can. And remember, if you do smoke, make sure it's a cigarette that gives you mildness and good flavor. That's right. And remember, whenever you're going to drink, don't drink and drive, kids. Drink, then drive.
Or pull over.
Yeah, hang on, my nose is running.
That's good. Your lymphatic system is moving.
Oh, yeah, my lymphatics are all emphatic.
I got it. You're all emphatic.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here today, kids. And remember, on your way home tonight, stop by that neighbor's house and ring the doorbell and just demand $50. What's the worst that can happen?
You get $50.
You might get $50.
Ta-da! And you survived.
Oh, is that it? We're all...
All right, that was my episode with Joey Gaynor. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, please like, click, subscribe, comment. Anything like that helps. Email me at joyshappyendings@gmail.com. And once again, Care by Design, you guys are fucking awesome. Goodbye.